Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Nerd Soup Podcast. I am here today with the Nerd Soup Monkey, Aaron. It's only us two because Teddy's not here.
Never know what he's doing.
He's taking care of some personal business, apparently. So I never know what he's doing either.
That could be. Oh.
And it's so funny because I wanted to air him out on this podcast and just absolutely rip into him because he is just so annoying. And the next time that he's on this podcast, we'll do that. Because everybody out there thinks that he's just this affable, what did I do? Why are you guys always picking on me? Yeah, he's way more sinister and malicious.
That's been a recurring theme in the comments. People are like, why does Aaron hate Teddy so much? Which is not true. It's
We're
just...
going to let you guys know.
Well, no. We don't hate Teddy. We've been friends for fucking years.
We love Teddy.
But it's
And
like
Marvel.
He's stepping into our world, and when it kind of gets a little contentious. On the outside world, when we're not on the mics, he is. You think I'm bad to Teddy and mean to him? You got to see some.
Oh yeah, you guys really don't
me.
know. Yeah, it's 100 times worse. But we'll get into that next week when Teddy's back. And today we're going to be talking about some big stories in the world of movies and
huge stories,
TV, comics, books, classical composers. We've got it all today on the Nerd Soup Podcast, which you can also listen to on iTunes at the Nerd Soup Podcast and SoundCloud at the Nerd Soup Podcast. And you can also send in your fan mail questions at nerdsoupforyou@gmail.com. We'll be answering those at the end of the podcast. That's nerdsoup4, the number, you, the letter, @gmail.com. And that is a reference to Seinfeld's Soup Nazi, for all you guys who have been asking. No Nerd Soup for you, unless you watch and subscribe and share and like. All right, let's get into the first story of the day. Aaron, what do we have first?
Let's see what we got here. Get my papers in order.
He's got no papers.
Yeah.
He's looking at nothing.
Well, way to turn back the curtain.
Pull.
What?
It's Oz at work. That's what this is.
How about a little James Bond to start things off?
You
want to start a little... Yeah, that's the song. That's the one they play in the movie. Danny Boyle stepping down from the newest installment of the James Bond franchise.
Big surprise.
Yeah?
Big surprise. Because I think on their official Twitter they said they released a statement, and it was the Broccoli producer, whatever her name is, famous Broccoli family that's been producing these movies forever, Daniel Craig and one of the other producers from Sony. And they said that they're splitting over creative differences. So what I always feel like, it's like the director wanted to make it good, and the studio's like, hold on there. Hold your horses there, Sonny. Okay? What do you think this is?
We're going to play it safe.
But Craig has even said that he wants to go out with a bang. That's why he's coming back. Because during Spectre, during the press tour, he said he would rather slit his wrists than do another Bond movie. And I think he was talking about more of the physical toll that it takes on his body, because these productions are so huge. The Bond budgets they've swelled up over the past couple of years.
A lot of pressure, too.
Yeah, it is a lot of pressure. And especially this one, the quarter of the century movie, the 25th Bond movie in such a legendary franchise. This one has to be good. It's kind of like their Infinity War, which is everything that's been riding, not everything riding but on this franchise, but it's a culmination, a celebration of James Bond.
Yeah, I feel like they've been hit or miss. Not miss in the sense of like actual bad movies. I mean, there have been throughout the run of James Bonds, but recently I feel like some haven't lived up to the expectations, while others have been pretty good action movies. But as far as this one, I mean, I wasn't really too excited for it anyway. I know it's Craig's last film, so I guess there's some anticipation there, but I don't know. I'm kind of Bonded out. You're a big Bond guy, right?
Yeah, I love Bond. I just got the whole Blu-ray collection. So
Yeah.
there definitely have been more bad Bonds than good Bonds.
But no, but in the Craig era.
In the Craig era, yeah, you can make the case that they're split. Casino Royale, I still think, is one of the best movies of the 21st century. Quantum of Solace is okay. Skyfall is also very good. Some people even think it's better than Casino. I don't. I think it's just because it's more recent. And Spectre, to me, most people didn't like Spectre. I do like Spectre. I think the ending is ridiculous. And it's funny because it came out in the same year that Rogue Nation came out, and they're such similar movies. But Rogue Nation just took that premise and did it so much better. But I'm very excited for Bond 25. And Danny Boyle leaving, I mean, I like Danny Boyle. Trainspotting 2 was good. Steve Jobs, Slumdog Millionaire. This is an Oscar award-winning filmmaker. So to see him split, you have to wonder, is it creative differences? Is it the salary? What really went on behind the scenes? More stuff will probably come out in the coming months and weeks, but I think this leaves it open. People were saying that they're courting Christopher McQuarrie now, which I wouldn't want to see.
No, I mean, I guess it does matter who directs it, but I feel like it's going to be pretty much more the same as far as the James Bond franchise is
Bond,
concerned.
James Bond, shaken.
Yeah,
and
it's like,
stirred.
what were the creative differences? Like, I wanted him to infiltrate this network instead of this one, or like what?
I want a movie that doesn't take place in the Caribbean. Well, hold on
Yeah.
there, sir. No beaches, no 5-star hotels. Well, wait a minute.
Wait a second. Yeah, I don't know. What you mentioned Mission Impossible before, obviously, but I feel like those have just took a steady. It trended upwards in over the past few movies, where these are kind of like you said, hit or miss. And I don't know. I don't get excited for Bond movies anymore. I mean, they'll come around. I'll watch the trailers, probably build a little excitement. I'll see the film, but I'm not anticipating it. It's not one of my movies to watch for coming forward.
Yeah. And I think for directors that I would want to see, I think this is just perfect timing for Christopher Nolan to come in, because he said that he would only direct Bond if he felt like they needed him to kind of reinvent the character. And I don't disagree that
It's such like a.
a pretentious thing to say.
It's awesome though. It's like, yeah, come to me when you need me. when you're desperate and your film's falling apart and everything's gonna go wrong, come to Daddy. Let me fucking fix it for
Come
you.
to Daddy Nolan. I'll take care of everything.
Yeah.
I'm kind of taking it out of context though, because he said that the movies have been so good and that they don't need reinvention. That's kind of what he said in his quote, that he would only want to come in when he feels like he could add something new to the franchise, like what he did with Batman. Because Batman was in dire need of a Nolan makeover. Bond, not so much. People keep saying, Bond, they need to reinvent the character for the 21st century. Spectre was such a mess. And 6 years ago, I hate this whole, what have you done for me lately? Because Skyfall was great. We were all Bond is back. The best spy franchise ever. Nobody can, box office records, first $1 billion Bond movie. Spectre comes out, 860 million worldwide. What's wrong with Bond? How do we fix Bond?
I want this movie to be the greatest spy thriller of all time, and at the end, he whips his mask off and it's Ethan Hunt. And it's just like, oh.
That would be the perfect crossover, because you got the masks.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It'd be great.
But whose theme song do you keep? Nash the other day, Tony.
You play the Bond, and when he makes the reveal, cut to Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible, yeah. Somebody will mix them together.
That'd be dope.
Get Hans Zimmer to do it. Throw in some organ.
Who you taking, Bond or Hunt? You have one mission to save the world. Who you taking? Who you putting? Who's the leader of your team?
John Wick.
He's not really a world saver. He's kind of like more of a revenge seeker.
Yeah,
And
but can you
I
imagine?
gotta save myself.
Imagine if Wick had those resources.
Well, if
That's
it's one of
why
those
Wick
things,
is
like
nice.
those memes, it's like pick one will protect you, the other will try to kill you type
Taking
deals.
Wick?
Yeah, then you take the Wick, the Wicker Man.
I don't know. I'm putting Wick at the head of my team over both of them. I think Wick, Bourne, Bond, Hunt, Jason Bauer. That's his Jack Bauer.
I think you combined it.
Yeah, imagine that. Now
Yeah.
I think Wick the way Wick murders people is ridiculous. He's not even trying. And the man has no ego. Not to get onto a John Wick tangent here, but one of my favorite scenes in the first John Wick is when he finally does kill Theon. And Theon, he's going to go into that villain speech of showing me mercy, and Wick just shoots him in the head. Just no time to talk. Just, I finished. Movie's over. Sorry.
Very efficient.
Yeah. But Craig said he wanted Villeneuve to direct Bond 25, and Villeneuve was kind of like, no. I'm going to go do...
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to do other stuff. I think Nolan would be perfect.
Are they gonna just totally revamp the whole movie, script wise?
Yeah, I don't really know.
Like,
It's taken a long time.
when's it supposed to be released? 2020?
Hopefully 2020. That'll be a good year, Bond 25 and 2020. But then the longer they take, the older Idris Elba is going to get, who has been rumored to be the next guy to take up the Bond mantle.
I figure 2 years and then another 3 or 4 in between films.
Yeah, so I think he's 45. He's going to be 46 this year. Still looks really good. So I think even at 50 years old, I think he'd still look good enough for the part. I mean, Roger Moore came on at 45. His last one was 58. Daniel Craig is going to be like 52.
Well, it's an interesting conversation, too, because Henry Cavill is obviously younger, and there's also talk of Tom Cruise as Green Lantern. So it's weird when you're trying to start like an action franchise to pick an older person. Look at Ben Affleck. He's younger, I think. He's like 43.
No, he's like 46.
46?
Yeah.
He's over it already.
Yeah.
You never know. It's a strenuous, listen to what Craig said. It's a very strenuous role to have.
I said that was the biggest mistake the DCEU made, was casting an older Batman. If you want to start your universe, you need a younger Batman to build the universe around.
But I feel like how many Bond films do you think the next installment?
Yeah,
will
that's the
have?
thing. You're not building a universe. You can
3
make
or 4.
Elba can make 2.
Yeah.
You know, there's George Lazenby made 1. Timothy Dalton made 2. Give me 2 great Elba Bond films. That's all you need for your career.
I think he'll be great. I kind of want to see him. He kind of got wasted in the MCU. It didn't really work out with The Dark Tower. I'd like to see him head his own franchise because
He kind of gets wasted with everything too.
yeah, he's such a great actor too, and I feel like he's like just a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
You saw the tweets. My name's Elba. Idris Elba. But him or Cavill, I think would be the top 2 choices, and I think are the consensus top 2 choices out there right now.
Yeah, I'd like to see Henry Cavill as well. I was talking to my brother-in-law about this, and he said that he could definitely see Elba in the part. And I was like, what about Cavill? And he was like, oh, fuck no. He's one of those that hated Cavill in Mission Impossible.
Well, I was saying in Mission Impossible in our review, check it out if you haven't. You like that plug?
Yeah, no, that's a good plug. Yeah,
pretty
keep
good,
going.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no.
fine plug.
I'm
Well done.
a company man.
Yes, you are.
I was saying I'd like to see him in a role where he's using his natural accent, where he could be more charismatic and loose with it and not uptight and just focusing on his accent. I feel like that takes away from his acting ability. It's, it's probably easier to use your natural voice, so I think it'll be perfect for James Bond.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody who actually reads the books, the Bond books, and it's funny because in the book he's supposed to be this guy who's very unassuming, that you wouldn't pick him out of a crowd. And it's funny how the Hollywood films have just made him this tall, suave, dark, and handsome spy who can just charm anybody that he comes in contact with. So for them to cast Idris Elba, I mean, to me, he just fits the description. Very charismatic, good actor. Looks like he can take on the physicality of the role, even in his old age. And I like that with Bond, too. I like Bond to be experienced.
Yeah.
That he's kind of made the rounds. And I don't want, oh, Bond, you're getting old. You're getting too old for this, kid. We've seen that with Craig in his 3rd movie. It was like, you're getting too old for this, like a couple movies ago. It's like, you're a rookie, okay? You got to learn the ropes. So, yeah, I'd love to see Elba or Cavill.
And he wasn't bad in Man from U.N.C.L.E. too. That's like a similar spy role, I guess. So
A lot of people like Tom Hiddleston for the role as well.
yeah,
I think he'd be really good.
I would take the other 2 first, but he wouldn't be bad.
All right, our next story for the movie world concerns Venom. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Venom since it was first started, or when they first announced that it was going to happen when Tom Hardy was casted, that Sony wanted to make an R-rated horror Venom movie, which to me sounded very interesting, but there was a lot of pushback because a lot of fans thought, hey, you can't have Venom without Spider-Man. It's like Batman and the Joker. You need that relationship for the movie to work, for the character to work,
Yeah,
because they're just so intertwined.
Take a look at what DC's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
That's so now they're saying that Venom is going to be, in fact, PG-13, something that we could have assumed from watching the trailers because they don't look like R-rated movies at all. And there are some scenes in the trailers that are genuinely scary. It does look like it could be a decent horror movie, and there have been horror movies that are PG-13 that are still good. But apparently their reasoning is that they hope that one day this movie could be linked with the MCU. There's been so many conflicting reports.
I'm fucking sick of Venom, man.
To me, artistically, I am sick of Venom as well.
I mean, it hasn't even came out yet. I'm not looking forward to it. It's like, all right, it's Venom. All right, let's see where it goes. It doesn't look good by the trailers. I don't think any of the trailers have been particularly good.
I think it looks okay.
Yeah.
I think
the scariest part about the trailers,
like a turd
Tom Hardy's fucking
in the wind.
What is he going
That
for?
accent. I'm starting to think. No,
He does not look like what Eddie Brock, what I picture like a investigative journalist, reporter, whatever he is, being. He just looks like Tom Hardy.
Yeah, just Tom Hardy after a hard night of partying.
Yeah, like when he's like creeping around a convenience store.
I was just thinking of that scene.
Like, all right, man.
He's like, you have to be subtle and sneaky, and you suck at it.
Shut up, Tom Hardy.
This show, okay.
It's like when I
Mona
love
Lisa.
Tom Hardy too, but man.
I'm cooling on you, Venom.
Yeah, I'm not excited. I mean, interesting. I like Riz Ahmed, and he's going to be the villain, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool. I'm sure it'll be decent, but as far as connecting it to the MCU, I feel like it would kind of be forced in because they didn't go in with that intention, right? They were just gonna
Right,
make a
exactly.
standalone
That's why
Venom.
they're taking away from what these directors, writers, the producers of the film were trying to do initially by making it an R-rated horror film. And if now they're saying in post-production we need to make this PG-13, then what do you're just stripping away scenes that might be crucial from the film, and we all know how that works. They were even saying with The Meg. The Meg initially was supposed to be an R-rated, ridiculous B movie, and the producers came and said, no, we need to make this PG-13 so more people will come out and see it. That never works when you do that to a movie. When you strip a movie of what it's supposed to be at its core, then it's probably going to suck. So unless it's been PG-13 the whole time, which it doesn't seem like it was, then this is just bad news for the. And if the movie sucks, Feige's going to be like, get that shit away from the MCU.
You know what they should do? Just like kind of force their hands and like get people excited is the post-credit scene, like Eddie Brock getting on the plane from San Francisco, destination LaGuardia. Like, oh, he's going to go by where Spider-Man is.
Yeah, that's. And then the plane turns to dust.
Ooh. That wouldn't work.
I
The
don't
pilot turns to dust.
Pilot, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like you said, I'm not thrilled about Venom. It's not on my anticipated, but I don't think it looks bad, but these reports doesn't sound good.
No.
Does not sound good. But we also got news about Spider-Man, that the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home, will be released in the summer of 2019. First movie after Infinity War. That's going to be interesting. If Jake Gyllenhaal is Mysterio, and if they get into the ramifications of Spider-Man being a part of it, I'm starting to think that, and I don't want this to happen, is that a lot of people aren't going to remember Infinity War. Spider-Man's not going to have any memory of going to Titan. The movie's going to start with him on the bus.
I would hate that. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, man, I would hate that a lot.
I would hate that too.
Because it has to hold some weight. I mean,
Yeah.
it has to like have a effect on this universe. But yeah, it's very close. I wasn't expecting a movie to come that close after Infinity War Part 2. Because Ant-Man did it. It didn't hurt Ant-Man. It didn't do as well in the box office as many people thought. This seems to be a little bit later in the summer.
Yeah.
So, well, no, July. Ant-Man is early July. So, and it's Spider-Man, so I think it's going to do good numbers anyway. But yeah, it's surprising. It's pretty much, you're kind of spoiling, even though we knew the characters were coming back, you're kind of spoiling an aspect of Part 2. Like, oh, yeah, they're obviously coming back, but I don't know. Are they going to show trailers leading up to it? What's the build-up? Because that's an interesting part, too. How can you have a trailer for Far From Home? And Infinity War hasn't even came out yet.
Well, I think it's tricky for the marketing.
It would have to be like a late August.
Yeah, I would think so. Or you can even go September, summer. It's still summer. It's going to be tricky, too, for Infinity War Part 2 for the trailers. Because if these characters are going to play a big role, and people have made the argument that you have big enough characters already, that you can include Captain Marvel in the trailers. But that's another thing. When does the Infinity War trailer come out? Does it come out before Captain Marvel comes out in theaters? Because then if she's in that movie, it kind of spoils an aspect of...
I think it's well known. We already know she's going to be in Infinity War.
Right, and it's going to be tricky because then you don't want to include any of the characters who, quote-unquote, died at the end of Infinity War in your trailer for Part 2. So, yeah, I don't want to doubt Marvel because they've just been breaking the mold for the past 10 years. So, the marketing is going to be really interesting to watch. But as for the movie itself, I mean, I'm starting to worry that Sony is going to take away the character after this movie because I think this is the end of the deal. I think it was a 5-picture deal. Civil War, first Spider-Man, 2 Avengers, and then the sequel. So Sony, we know Sony, they're a bunch of morons when it comes to
I
Spider-Man.
think you got to combine Infinity War into one. It's kind of like
and
Civil War.
No.
Really.
Chris Evans, remember his cameo in Thor 2?
That counted?
Yeah, that was part of his deal. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
They wasted it on a throwaway joke, huh?
Yeah, pretty good payday too.
Yeah.
But I hope Sony doesn't take this character back. My hope is that Sony just sells him after Venom crashes and burns. And I'm not rooting for Venom to be bad, but
if that causes them to give the characters to Marvel, then
I hope Venom sucks.
yeah, I hope it's fucking trash.
That would be a nice thing that came out of a bad
prize.
situation.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the fan questions now. All right, so the first question comes from, he told me how to pronounce his name in the email, Kirian, like Kirian Hines.
Mm.
He says, "What's up, guys?" It's a long one.
Kirian like Tyrion?
Kirian like Kirian Hines. From the guy who plays Mance Raider.
Yeah, I know. He was in
No
Silence,
lanterns, no Kryptonian.
too.
This world will fall. Like all the others. What's up, guys? Love the channel. Recently became a Patreon supporter, and I don't regret it one bit. Well, thank you, Kirian. Would you ever consider doing an episode-by-episode review of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? Or even just a series review? I'd rather do the episode-by-episode. I think it's one of the best stories of all time. I agree. Anime or otherwise. I also agree. And I would love to see your analysis from the perspective of someone who's seen it. Bo, in parentheses, that's me, and someone who hasn't. Aaron, Teddy, or whoever. P.S. Why do you guys give Teddy such a hard time? I admit it's funny, but I was just curious as to how the dynamic developed within your friendship. All right, so you want to tackle the part 2?
All right, with the
We
Teddy?
kind of addressed it at the top of the show.
Yeah, but I guess we'll get a little more in depth.
He needs to be here to defend himself.
All right, let's give a quick little synopsis.
Okay. So,
Through every walk of life of
Right.
our friendship, Teddy has been the hot shot, you know? Big star football player, all the ladies wanted him. Really had everything going for him.
all the ladies?
Every single one.
That is true.
Talking high school,
Some of the guys.
Letterman jacket,
Yeah.
You moved out of the way. And now he enters our world, Get down and dirty with the geek stuff, the comics, the Game of Thrones, the movies. And he thinks he can just walk in and take over like he did back in the day. I don't think so, Teddy. You got to earn your right to sit here. And, give him a little rough time. Let him know. Give him the business a little. Not take him down a peg.
Once he's here, I'm going to expose him once he comes back to the podcast next week because I have a bone to pick with him. 'Cause
Really?
He is just the worst person to invite to the movies. The absolute worst. I can't even get into it. I'll give you guys a little. This could never happen. Ted, do you want to see this movie at this time? Yeah, sure. It's always something else. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to set up a movie with this guy. With me and Aaron, it's, oh, you want to see this or this? Yeah. Can't go. Okay. But yeah, it's just yes. It's yes or no. With this kid, it's like making plans with a Hollywood big shot. He thinks he's. Let's just go to the question. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood review, episode by episode. I think it would be tough to do an anime episode by episode because the episodes are so short. So I guess it would make more sense to do a series review. But it's a story that I've tried to get you to watch because I do think it's just one of the greatest fantasy epics ever. It's so good. I can't wait to go back and watch
so many
it.
things to watch.
There's there's a lot. But I would love to see a live action. I always say it. I want to see a live action Full Metal Alchemist with the budget. Amazon
starring Scarlett Johansson. That's like a
I
meme.
saw such a funny meme of Scarlett Johansson with that.
Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. It's on Netflix, right?
Hulu.
Hulu. That's a thing. Not a big Hulu. Someone hit me up on Twitter. Is like, are you going to do Castle Rock? That's another big show going. But I don't have Hulu, and Teddy won't give me his password.
All right, our next question comes from CJ Tebben. He says, Dear Bo, Aaron, and the Nerd Soup crew, I don't have Twitter, so you don't know this, but I am such a huge fan of your show. You guys are funny, insightful, and cover all my favorite topics. Tell Marissa she's my favorite, and that she doesn't get enough love.
I concur. Were you waiting for me?
I thought you were going to jump in and be like, yeah, I concur.
No, I do concur.
And tell Aaron that I think Daenerys is a great match just to tick him off. Even though they're not, guess John got over Ygritte fast. Yeah, I guess he kind of did, but you got to move on, right?
Yeah.
They say that's what they say. When you know that your pet is dying, just get another pet right away. My question for you is, how would you cast Game of Thrones actors in superhero movies? I think Natalie Dormer would make a great Enchantress from Thor, and that Maisie Williams would be a great Robin. She really would. Love all of you and put Stu into more videos.
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, Stu does need to be more. But Stu's enough. The thing with Stu is very similar with Teddy, where it's hard to get a hold of him, but you don't get mad at him because he's just kind of Stu. He's very laid back. He doesn't come at you.
No, Stu will be like, if he wants to do something, he can, and he'll come in. If Teddy isn't in something, he'll get like, why am I not? Like, he'll get mad about it. It's like, Teddy, we told you to come to the movies, and you said you were busy. You were booked up for the next 2 weeks. And
Stu's also he's not slippery. Stu, it's very much like, I can't do this because, I got to go to Colorado or something. And he really just be going to Colorado and shit. I was talking about this the other day. Who was I talking? We were casting Fantastic Four. And back when they were making the Fan Four stick, Kit Harington and Richard Madden both auditioned for Mr. Fantastic. So we were casting the Fantastic Four. We were saying, Kit Harington, give him Mr. Fantastic again. And then Saoirse Ronan as the Invisible Woman. And Zac Efron as Johnny Storm. And The Thing, we didn't know. We don't know yet. We're still on that.
Well, The Thing should probably be, we'll do a practical thing, but on the mountain.
The mountain? Yeah. That wouldn't be bad. Yeah, just rock him up. Yeah, but I think I would love to have seen Richard Madden as Dick Grayson. I think that would be perfect casting.
Like an older version?
Not an older version. Richard Madden's what, like 32? Yeah, I guess it would be an older version. He's not that much younger than Batman.
No?
Yeah, he's got to be in his 20s, right?
Yeah, I'd say so, depending on which. There's
Who
so many
knows the
fucking,
continuity of.
Yeah, I don't even want to begin with that.
But I really wanted to see Natalie Dormer as he mentions Natalie Dormer as Captain Marvel. I thought
He
that
said
would have been.
Enchantress.
He said Enchantress, but I'm saying I would have
Oh.
liked to have seen her as Captain Marvel.
Okay.
Lena Headey as Catwoman, I think would be really interesting, especially with Ben Affleck in the role. Even though I don't think he's coming back, but an older Catwoman,
Who would be a good Batman?
similar in age, who'd be a good Batman in Game of Thrones. Oh, I've always said this too. Sean Bean as the Penguin. That I wanted a rendition.
You have said that, yeah.
I wanted like a hardcore English gangster, and the Penguin is a nickname. It's an ironic nickname. It's like when you call the big guy Tiny.
Mm-hmm.
It's like somehow he got it because
I always get a kick out of that.
It's like-
When
like
you call
a-
like a skinny guy Bubba.
yeah.
Gets me every time.
See that? But Sean Bean is just this ruthless gangster that can match Batman through intelligence and the resources that he has through his crime syndicate. I think that would be such a great, gritty, down-to-earth Batman story. It's not the end of the world. It's just these two forces battling, similar to the Joker representing chaos. The Penguin would represent controlled chaos.
I'm still trying to think Batman. There's no really Batman presence.
Batman in younger Sean Bean, maybe.
Can't do that.
The actor who plays Dario,
Maybe.
I could see him as a Batman type.
Pedro Pascal, he can do so many different things, I feel like.
I think Emilia Clarke would have been a good Captain Marvel as well.
Yeah.
I would like to see. I could see her as a younger Catwoman. I'm trying to think of other female superheroes that I'd like to see. Well, Sophie Turner was obviously cast as Jean Grey, and I think that was really good casting. And it's a shame that movie doesn't look like it's ever going to be released, or if it is, that.
Khal Drogo as Aquaman? That would be fucking
Oh yeah,
sick.
Jason Momoa. Yeah, he was supposed to be Drax.
Really?
Originally, yeah, he was supposed to be Drax. A lot of people were upset when he wasn't casted.
I can see that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm trying to think of some of the other leads. Peter Dinklage.
As the guy from Infinity War.
He was good as Eitri. It's growing on me.
Yeah.
It's starting to grow on me. At first, I didn't like it, but he gets better once you're used to seeing him like that with the voice.
So I'm trying to go for the big guns.
He needs the axe.
I'm trying to think Superman, Captain America.
Well, they were talking about Peter Dinklage, too. There was rumors that he was going to be Adam Warlock for a long time, which I think that would have been a really cool choice. Oh, Peter Dinklage as the Question. How sick would that be?
Well, him being the only American actor, you'd have to be Captain America by default. Because I can't have... This is Captain America we're talking about. We can't have any of those UKers coming in and taking our guy.
No UKers.
They already got Superman.
They get Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Batman, Christian Bale. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine.
Where does it stop?
Well, he's Canadian anyway, Wolverine, but yeah, I don't know when it stops.
Nikolai Coster-Waldau, the blonde hair. He could be
Dr. Fate.
Could be a grizzled Cap or something like that.
He could have been no.
I don't
He's
know.
not Cap. He's like a
Cap?
Dr. Fate.
He would
have been a good Doctor Strange.
Name a better Game of Thrones Cap.
I'm not trying to get a Game of Thrones Cap.
I'm going for the big guns. You're going
Richard
for all these
Madden.
side characters. You're cheating.
Side characters?
Yeah. I'm talking about, give me Batman, give me Superman, Captain America, Iron Man. Give me the big guns.
That's boring. I want to cast them right. Oh, Doctor Doom.
Oh, I was thinking of Dr. Fate.
He should have been
Like, why the hell are you talking about him? I forgot you're talking.
Dr. Fate is the man. I said Dr. Fate before.
Oh, okay.
What do you don't like Dr. Fate? There's a lot of doctors and superheroes. Just go with Mister. So pretentious. I hate when people.
They worked hard for that PhD.
Yeah, but listen, if you don't deserve it if you correct somebody who calls you Mister.
Remember in middle school we had the
Dr. Smith.
Principal.
You called him Mr. Smith, you were suspended.
I swear to God, you weren't suspended, but he would scold you and be like, "If it happens again, I'm gonna fucking."
The next question comes from Harroger. I think that's how you pronounce it. I hope. If I'm butchering that, just send me an email of how to pronounce it. You guys should do that on your emails. Whatever. Bo's opinion on Hans Zimmer is very bold and quite a hot take, and I respect it, even if it's wrong. Do you have any hot takes, Aaron?
What's your take on Hans Zimmer?
All right. On the video, I said that Hans Zimmer sucks, dude. That's how I said it. Hans Zimmer sucks, dude.
How can you say something so controversial, yet so brave?
So brave.
I fucking love that kid.
That's funny. I only said it because it was just right after Dunkirk with the and I was just heated. It's like I need to get this out of the way. And some of his scores, even the Batman theme of his, I don't really like. Interstellar, the organ in that movie. Oh my goodness.
He did Man of Steel, right?
He did Man of Steel, which is another. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, do you have any hot takes?
Do I have hot takes, huh?
Let's see. I don't know. Do you have any hot takes?
Scroll
Aaron?
through my Twitter. When I do this thing when I drink on Twitter and I go out.
Yeah, but your hot takes aren't that hot.
I know they're not. They're just fun. They're just like because I'm so bored and I'm just drunk. I'm like, all right, I just want to get this out there. I guess as far as film, well, that's a hot take I have.
That hot take you thought you had about Avatar was pretty funny
That was funny.
on a podcast. He's like, "Oh, I've got a hot take. You know, I don't really like Avatar. Overrated."
My hot takes just
Welcome
come.
to film Twitter.
A lot of my takes just come. I'll just be doing something like so not connected to like film or television, and I'll just think of something like, "Wow, Rob Stark is better than Jon Snow," and I'll just tweet it out, and it just happens to me.
Well, this obsession that you have too with comparing Godfather and Goodfellas.
Well, it's not a hot take to say Goodfellas is better than Godfather.
Yeah, but you're just obsessed with comparing these two movies, which nobody does.
It's in
You posted that on Twitter the other day.
the mob movie realm. It's like the
Yeah, but that's where it kind of
genre.
ends. You could take the Godfather story and put it in any genre. You can make it about science fiction aliens, and it's still pretty much the same story.
I just think Goodfellas is better. What's the big deal?
But you're obsessed with it. You always bring it up.
Yeah, I think I was running low. I had to show up for the people. I don't know. I don't really have one right now. I guess I always.
Well, I'm glad you came prepared for this question.
You just read them out. If you want me to.
You're really disappointing for this guy. I'm
all
sorry.
right. Ghost in
I'm
the Shell.
sorry, Harry.
Ghost in the Shell overrated.
It's not a hot
the
take.
anime. The anime? No.
Yeah, that's not that hot of a take.
People fucking die by that movie.
Who?
You.
Who's died over Ghost? I'll die for Ghost in the Shell.
You.
I wouldn't die
You
for
hyped it up so much like it was some fucking.
I didn't hype it up so much. I said it's considered one of the best movies of all time. You should watch it.
Man, I didn't think it was that great.
But do you have any new hot takes? That's not really going to get the people. That's not a Hans Zimmer hot take.
Well, the most controversial one was saying Ben Affleck is the best Batman of all time.
That's not hot.
People fucking freaked out on me.
Your takes are lukewarm.
Yeah?
Yeah, you got lukewarm takes. You talk a big hot take game, but
I don't know. The takes just don't come. You can't just push a button and I spit out hot takes. I'm not a fucking toy, you know?
all right, our next question from Joshua Prinster. Greetings from Vancouver, Canada. My question is about ambiguous endings in movies. How do you guys feel about them? I recently watched War Dogs and the Netflix special How It Ends, and with no spoilers, both have ambiguous endings. I feel like they can sometimes pose a question to the audience, and sometimes leave the story at a pointless ending with no explanation. Love the show. Keep up the good work. Go Darnold.
Oh, let's go.
Regards, Joshua Prinster.
All right. Vancouver, huh?
Yeah, sometimes I think ambiguous endings don't really benefit the story at all.
Well, there are two like interpretations. Some people find it lazy,
Yeah.
and it really depends on what film it is. I think sometimes it works perfectly, and it really does have that thought-provoking aspect where it sticks at you for a while after you've seen the film. And I think that's always good. You don't want to film and just forget about it. If it sticks with you for a while and you're constantly thinking about it, and there's different theories of what happened at the end and what the ending really is, I think it helps the film. It enhances it and the conversation around it. What's an example of just it being lazy to you? Where it happened and you're just like, that's not that type of film where you leave a cliffhanger.
The Gray. Even though apparently there's an extra credit scene where it's revealed that he beat up the wolf. But when I saw that in theaters and they're about to fight and it cuts to black, what? I came here to see Liam Neeson fight a fucking wolf. That's not bold or ambiguous. That just annoys me.
Yeah.
Like you have to earn the ambiguous ending. You know what movie earns the ambiguous ending? Inception. All the theories that have came out where people have kind of cracked the theory that he's actually in the real world because his actual item is his wedding ring.
Yes.
That's a
People forget
perfect ambiguous ending. What is with you and people forgetting?
People forget a lot of things. I got to tell them to remind them.
Why is that your
I gotta remind
catchphrase
you.
now
I
that
gotta
people forget that?
I don't know. It's on the internet a lot. I take a lot of my sticks from the internet.
Yes, but I think that's a perfect ambiguous ending. What's another one? I mean, a lot of Twin Peaks talk about an ambiguous. That's not an ambiguous ending. That's just a fucking mystery.
Well, I like how
That final scene.
things are like they have an ending, but what just happened is still can be debated upon. Like Annihilation, where it does have sort of an ending, but you don't really know what happened or what was going on.
Or A Quiet Place too. That's an ending that I didn't love.
Yeah.
It's kind of what's gonna happen? Okay, I would like to see Emily Blunt shoot these monsters with a shotgun.
Yeah, you're kind of building up to that.
Have you cooled on A Quiet Place? Has the world? I feel like the world is cooled on A Quiet Place.
I still like it. I still think it's a pretty good movie.
It's got to be one of the most overrated movies of all time, though.
You were not hot on that.
But I feel like everybody, it had like a 98% in Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody loved
Rotten
it.
Tomatoes is a flawed system. It says it's like basically binary, good or bad.
Right, it's a flawed
system. And then
system.
you have the rankings within.
But also the internet. Just the way the internet, and now nobody talks about it.
It's something where it's just kind of different, and people think, oh, it's different, so it's good. It's like, oh, it was very quiet. Like you couldn't chew your popcorn because it would take away from the atmosphere of the film. I still liked it though. I thought it was very well.
Is it in your top 10?
Of this year?
Yeah.
No, it fell out.
Oh.
I think Black Klansman got in my top 10, and it kind of bumped it down a peg.
Oh my goodness. That's a hot take.
What?
I don't know. Yeah, but I remember in the Silence review where you were saying if the movie cut where before he was going to step on Jesus, I liked it in the moment, but now when I think back, if that's how that movie would have ended, I would be furious. That would not have been a good ambiguous ending.
Switch it over to television, like The Sopranos.
I love that one. And I haven't seen The Sopranos.
The only thing about that is you invested
Is
so
it
many...
Sopranos or Sopranos?
But to invest so much time in that and just to have it cut off like that, even though it's implied...
Yeah, but I like that because it's just like life goes on. That's the story we told, and move on with your life.
Well, it's like, oh, he probably got shot, though.
Right, yeah, there's theories that there was an assassin that came to the diner,
it's...
right?
I don't know if it's unsmart and it fits with the film. If you're not like,
I think they were planning to. I really thought they were going to do a movie. I think they thought they were really.
Well, they're
going to
do
back.
a prequel. I've heard.
Right.
But if it's like a very cookie cutter movie, nothing inspiring, and you think you're just like, oh, I'm just going to end it on a cliffhanger to get people talking, and the movie wasn't that great to begin with, it's kind of like you're grasping at straws to be something you're not, and that's when it comes off inauthentic and just doesn't fit.
All right, our next question is from Mish on Twitter. I'd love to learn the Nerd Soup origins. What prompted you guys to start this? Are you all high school friends? What's the story? So I guess we've talked about this.
Everyone loves an origin story.
I'd love and we've talked about this on previous podcasts, but it's always nice to go into the history of how it all started.
We get new fans,
Yeah. And me, Teddy, and Aaron, yes, we all went to the same high school, same middle school. You guys went to elementary school together, right?
Yeah.
I did not.
I think third grade.
Yeah, right.
It's
and
a long time the notes had.
Yeah, we've talked about this, how Ted was the hot shot, and, I think we met in health class in 7th grade.
Yes.
Mr. Smalley. Guy was a freaking weirdo. It's a hell of a class, though.
He might be listening. Come on.
It's like, I love these kids. I'm so proud of them. He gets name dropped like that.
It's like, what the hell did I do? I was trying to teach him about the dangers of...
I remember he showed us Rudy, and that guy was crying hysterically in the back of the classroom. He's like, this is my favorite movie ever.
Rudy sucks. That's a hot take if you want one.
Oh,
is that a hot take?
No, yeah, that's a hot take.
Okay, good.
And I would agree with it.
He went off sides.
I love the American
That's
Dad.
my favorite thing, like Rudy went off sides.
But the origin of Nerd Soup. We've talked about this too, that we always wanted to make an animated series. And we've had so many different incarnations of what that animated series was going to be. I remember it started at Tony the Robot's apartment one day. Where I was talking to one of our friends and saying, I want to make an animated series. And we were all kind of like, oh, that'd be interesting. Let's write scripts together. And that didn't work out.
Usually ended up with us just playing like Smash Brothers and getting Taco Bell.
Yes.
Very.
In which I was the best Smash Brothers player. Yeah,
I was a big hide and chill.
You were the biggest hide and chill guy. You were always playing the ropes.
Yeah.
Trying to rope-a-dope.
Excellent strategy.
Rope-a-dope and Falcon Punch. But yeah, that original show was called University. Which I think you might want to pitch that to Netflix.
Yeah, and they'll do anything now.
Yeah.
We sat down and we wrote some stuff for it, but I don't think any of us realized how hard it was to make an animated thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then when it kind of inspired into this, I think I went to college and you kind of started playing around with it. And when I got back is when we started doing the Game of Thrones stuff. And
yeah, the first movie review I think I did officially on the channel is Deadpool.
Yeah.
And then Hail Caesar.
Yep.
And I still remember coming out of the movie theater and saying, I'm going to review Hail Caesar as an animated character. And here we are. And yeah, we're all friends. I mean, pretty good friends in high school.
Yeah.
Pretty good friends.
I'd say so. It wasn't really anything special.
This question is from Justin Vidal. Number 1, what is a TV episode or movie that made each of you cry? 2, who's going to win the Super Bowl? 3, how will Infinity War Part 2 end? All right, TV episode or movie that made you cry. Grave of the Fireflies. I saw that for the first time a couple weeks ago. It didn't make me cry, but I got pretty damn close.
The kid next to me started crying. He was like a young kid, and I was done.
Oh, man.
I think, I've been crying a lot lately, like at films and TV.
All right, save that first.
No, yeah.
Okay. Films and TV. Okay.
I think I'm going through something, man. I don't know. Maybe I should see a doctor or something.
I mean, Logan.
Yeah, Logan got me.
I was trying so hard in the theater not to.
I've gone.
When she turns that cross to an X,
You know what? It's when other people cry, that's what gets me too. It's like if someone next to me starts
it's
crying.
like yawning.
The girl next to me and Logan started crying, so I was like fuck.
God damn.
Uh,
Speech too, man. Oh, what a.
I do this thing where I get drunk and I get home from the bar.
And you watch when Rob
And I-
becomes
yeah,
king of the North,
I
and you
watch-
cry.
Yes, and the Reigns of Castamere, and that gets me. That's not like it's a drunk cry. It doesn't crying doesn't count if you're drunk.
What has
Everyone-
Game of
everyone
Thrones
knows
ever
that.
made me cry? Oh,
I cried when this was bad too. Like full crying. And I didn't care who was around me when they did the cut from Baby John to Real
Oh,
John.
yeah.
I fucking lost it, man.
So you're just feeling the emotion of everything that man has been through in that one cut.
But what
That-
about me? What have I been through all these fucking years reading the books and the theories? And even though it was mostly accepted, just to finally see that on screen, oh man.
Arya, when she's contemplating getting rid of Needle, to me, that always gets me. It always has me near tears. Got me the first time. It's just so well done. But who's going to win the Super Bowl? Giants. That's easy.
No, the Jets probably.
Yeah, well, Jets, Giants, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And we'll both
Book
be
it.
happy. Yeah. No, realistically, football is so unpredictable. It's the hardest sport because there's so many injuries. There's so many different factors. It's so tough to even make the playoffs in football. It's the regular season is basically just the playoffs.
Yeah,
It's just a 4-month playoff.
give me the Vikings, I guess. I don't know.
Like
Great defense, you know.
New England versus the Falcons.
Again?
Yeah,
No, that's,
New England's in it every year.
I know. Fuck that.
And I'm not the biggest football guy here. I don't really know that much about it, but I know that New England's in it every year. So it's your best bet.
So yeah, it's always New England, the Steelers. Hopefully something different happens, but probably not. New England Vikings.
It's so hard to predict that it's always the Patriots or Steelers or Seahawks.
Not recently.
And our last question for today is from Andy. Are there any graphic novels, series, non-superhero, that you'd like to see adapted to the big, small screen? I'd like to see American Vampire or Descender. That's a good question. I would say Brian K. Vaughan, a couple of his stories, and I think a couple of them are coming. But for him specifically, I'd like to see a comic. It's called We Stand on Guard. It's about a war between Canada and America, and water's become the most precious resource in the world, and Canada's got an abundance of water, so America's like, we're going to need that. You guys look like you need some freedom. So it's like water's replaced oil. It's such a great comic. It's really short, too. It's only like 5 or 6 issues.
Who wins? Oh, we probably win, right? Yeah.
It's told from a Canadian perspective, so
Oh, they'll probably go down to the Tim Hortons and get their hockey sticks. Get ready for the Americans to come.
that's extremely offensive. Patience by Daniel Klaus. I think that's being turned into a movie as well. But the first time I read that, I was like, oh my God, this has so much potential to be just such a wacky and crazy film. It's such a good comic. But yeah, a lot of the Brian K. Vaughan comics I'd like to see adapted. And but when it comes to comic books, I mostly just read DC. So there are probably a lot of non-superhero graphic novels that deserve to be adapted.
I think the only non-superhero graphic novels I've read are The Tales of Dunk and Egg.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That'd be dope.
Oh, Saga, too, by Brian K. Vaughan. He kind of writes it to be unfilmable. Have you ever heard of Saga?
No.
It's like say it's Game of Thrones and Star Wars mixed together. It's so absurd and ridiculous. It's really good, but it seems like a story that just kind of has no end in sight. And I stopped reading after volume 7, so I kind of don't know what happens after that, but it's really good.
Yeah. All I got is Dunk and Egg.
Dunk and Egg.
I like Dunk and Egg.
Yeah, me too.
So, you know.
They're a funny pair.
Yeah.
I'll give you a clout and yeah, boy. I love that one. He's always giving. He never does it though.
Yeah, he's
giving him a hard
threatens
time.
him, but you know they love each other.
Yeah, they're buddies.
Just don't go to Summerhole. guys.
Just if he invites you to Summerall, just stay away.
You ever just go on like Wikipedia, like not Wikipedia, like Westeros.org, and just click all the different Targaryens?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
insane.
Bunch of work. I was doing like a big, like fucking 2 a.m. too. I'm all over the place recently, but I'm like at 2 a.m. reading the whole biography of Maegor the Cruel. He was a piece of work. He was something, I tell you.
Yeah, well, you once said that you know more Westerosi history than American history, so now we know why. But yeah, thank you guys for listening to this podcast. It was an honor having you on, Nerd Soup Monkey. Not really an honor, but
I'm fucking here every day.
yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and I hope you tune in next week to our Nerdsuit podcast. And yeah, leave your comments, thoughts, send us your questions, and have a good week. Have a solid week.
Yeah, decent week.
Yeah, above average.